Having barely escaped the wrath of the dragon, the Dragonborn was weakened, hurt, and hungry, with nowhere really to go in this vast region. However, with the help of a fellow escapee, he set out on his journey to Riverwood, a small village built on the eastern bank of the White River, in the hold of Whiterun. A small rural community that survives thanks to its prosperous lumber mill. A quick glance at this place, however, noted a very dangerous turn of events. Riverwood is defenseless. The houses appear to be made all out of wood, and there's only a small retinue of guards to protect this place. The dragon was also seen flying this way, which made the situation very dangerous. It is believed that the populace of Riverwood were very helpful to the Dragonborn, offering him and the other survivors food and supplies, but begging of him one favor. See, Skyrim is divided into 9 different divisions, each of them ruled by a Jarl in the city. Riverwood, as I mentioned before, is located in the hold of Whiterun, which is governed by the city of Whiterun and its Jarl, Balgruuf.
There is something you could do for me, for all of us here. The Jarl needs to know if there's a dragon on the loose. Riverwood is defenseless. We need to get word to Jarl Balgruuf in Whiterun to send whatever troops he can. If you'll do that for me, I'll be in your debt.
The people of Riverwood begged the Dragonborn to ask for help in Whiterun, for if the dragon were to attack this place, it would most certainly fall. And a lot of people would die. If only the Jarl were to know of their predicament, then he would most certainly send soldiers to help protect the town. And this is where the triumphant nature of the Dragonborn truly started to shine. He was, for all intents and purposes, a prisoner of the Imperials. It wouldn't have been crazy to think that he was gonna get arrested as soon as he entered an Imperial-owned city like Whiterun and told his story. But he did it anyways, saving and helping the people of Riverwood who had been so kind to him, who had offered him food and rest, was more important than his probable incarceration.
We'll pay whatever it takes, but we must have more swords for the Imperial soldiers.
I just can't fill an order that size on my own. Why don't you swallow that stubborn pride of yours and ask Yorland Greymane for help?
I'd sooner bend my knee to Ulfric's Stormcloak. Besides, Greymane would never make steel for the Legion.
Have it your way. I'll take the job, but don't expect a miracle.
Helgen, destroyed by a dragon. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Need a blade? You should talk to Adrian at the forge.
My lord, please. This is no time for rash action.
What's the meaning of this interruption? Jarl Balgruuf is not receiving visitors.
Who's this then?
Well, that explains why the guards let you in. Come on then. The Jarl will want to speak to you personally.
So, you were at Helgen. You saw this dragon with your own eyes? By Ysmir, Irileth was right. What do you say now, Proventus? Shall we continue to trust in the strength of our walls? Against the dragon?
My lord, we should send troops to Riverwood at once. It's in the most immediate danger. If
The
that
Jarl of
dragon is lurking in the
will view
mountains...
that as a provocation. He'll assume we're preparing to join Ulfric's side and attack him. We should not... Enough! I'll not stand idly by while the dragon burns my hold and slaughters my people. There is another thing you could do for me. Suitable for someone of your particular talents, perhaps. Come, let's go find Farengar, my court wizard. He's been looking into a matter related to these dragons and rumors of dragons.
The appearance of dragons, however, was more than just problematic. It had seemed that the court wizard to Jarl Balgruuf had casually been investigating the dragons for quite some time, and turned out he was a little of a connoisseur in the matter. This presented quite an opportunity for both parties, as the Dragonborn was new in the area, needed work, and seemingly was quite capable of handling himself against powerful foes, in this case, at least knowing full well how to escape from a rampaging dragon. On the other hand, the court wizard Farengar's secret fire had found himself stuck in a dead end on his research. for he needed to find an important old tablet found in an old Nordic dungeon, far too dangerous for him to delve. As soon as Jarl Balgruuf rewarded the Dragonborn for his services, he offered him more, if he were to help the city in this particular quest, which the Dragonborn happily accepted. The Dragonborn was tough, hardy, and capable. However, he was about to delve deep into an old Draugr-infested dungeon. This is, of course, not unheard of, for many adventurers and bandits seek out the riches in these kinds of places. Locations closed up centuries ago, probably with tons of treasure and gems to plunder, however dangerous they are.
I'm not surprised you've never heard of it. Even I used to think it was just a myth. But not anymore. The Dragon War was a real event, although only the barest glimmer of the actual events has come down to us. Far back in the Mythic era, the dragons were worshipped as gods in Skyrim. Many of the monumental ruins that still dot the landscape were in fact built as temples to the dragons. The details are lost, but at some point, the Nords rebelled. After a long and terrible war, the Nords overthrew their dragon overlords.
What you find deeper inside, however, is the real problem. What is known in Skyrim as the Draugr. These type of undead are the remnants of the humans who used to venerate the dragons thousands of years ago. You see, the ancient Nordics used to worship what one would refer to as animal gods. The snake god, the eagle god, the bear god, you know, that sort of thing. But the dragon was always at the very top. In these ancient times, the dragons would rule Skyrim with impunity, using humans as slaves. The Draugrs, these ancient undead humans, are actually old servants that pledged their existence to the dragons, even after death. Note that the clergy of those ancient times lived in excellency. They were rich and powerful, for the dragons didn't actually want to bother ruling humans. They simply wanted to be atop mountains. They wanted big edifices to be constructed in their honor. They wanted to be feared, but they cared not for actual politics. And as such, the dragon priests used to rule in their stead. These Draugrs are not the priests, but merely the servitors to the priests. And what they do inside here is spend their eternity cleaning up the place and using whatever energy they might have to infuse the dragon priest within the complex in order to give it immortality. You see, legend says that the leaders of all dragons had such tremendous power that he could actually grant immortality. In essence, revive anything he wanted. So when the Dragon War happened and the humans rebelled against their masters, the dragon priest and all the humans that still had loyalty to the dragons, they buried themselves in these tombs and waited and waited, waiting for the time the Dragon Master would come and resurrect them. Thankfully, the Dragonborn did not find such a dragon priest in this dungeon, for that would have been a mortal enemy. They are extremely powerful. Instead, he found a powerful Draugr guardian, an individual that was granted the purpose of protecting the Dragonstone, a tablet dedicated to storing the information on where the dragons were being buried, as they were being killed by the humans of the time. Of course, with the intention of resurrecting them later when the Dragon Master would come back. But something happened at the end of the tomb. As he defeated the Guardian and claimed the tablet, something spoke to him. The wall spoke to him. What is described as a word wall is literally an enormous construction of stone with glyphs written on them. Various sentences that the Dragonborn could not understand, except for one word in the paragraph. This word stuck in the Dragonborn's mind, almost as if he could understand what the word was, and with it, the power that it carries. The word was force. See, the Dragonborn didn't know it at the time, but the word wall said, "Here lies the Guardian, keeper of Dragonstone, and a force of unending rage and darkness." Now, the word force in that paragraph had a strong meaning to him. Without truly understanding, though, what that meaning was, he set out back to Whiterun with his find.
I'm the commander of the guard here in Whiterun.
You see? The terminology is clearly First Era or even earlier. I'm convinced this is a copy of a much older text. Perhaps dating to just after the Dragon War. If so, I could use this to cross-reference the names with other later texts.
Good. I'm glad you're making progress. My employers are anxious to have some tangible answers.
Oh, have no fear. The Jarl himself has finally taken an interest, so I'm now able to devote most of my time to this research.
Time is running, Farengar, don't forget. This isn't some theoretical question. Dragons have come back.
Yes, don't worry. Although the chance to see a living dragon up close would be tremendously valuable. Now, let me show you something else I found. Very intriguing. I think your employers may be interested as well. Ah, yes, the Jarl's protege. Back from Bleak Falls Barrow. You didn't die, it seems. Ah, the Dragon Stone of Bleak Falls Barrow. Seems you are a cut above the usual brutes the Jarl sends my way.
Farengar, you need to come at once. A dragon's been sighted nearby. You should come too.
The congratulations were to be cut short this time, however, for there were dire news of the Dragonborn's arrival. Upon delivering the Dragonstone, news were received of a dragon sighting very close to Whiterun, which prompted the Jarl to muster his forces and send a garrison of his troops to scout the menace. The group arrives to see the western watchtower on fire, with clear signs that a dragon had recently passed by. Contact is made with the surviving guards, but not long after that it's when it appears. Flying from across the mountains, the dragon made his appearance as it closed in on the warriors. His name was Mirmulnir. See, most dragons actually ended up dying during the Dragon War, knowing full well that their master would eventually resurrect them one day. This one, on the other hand, was one of the very rare exceptions, a dragon that survived. He has actually been out there alive all this time, making him literally one of the oldest dragons in the world. And now that dragons were returning, so did he seemingly, feeling safe enough to come out to hunt, which is actually his name ironically. His dragon name translates into Allegion's Strong Hunt. However, unlike his name, he fell to the likes of the Dragonborn who quelled his existence in this one fateful battle. See, this was a pivotal moment when the life of the Dragonborn shifted. He could have been anything, his future cloudy, filled with potential. Maybe the leader of the Thieves Guild, maybe a murderous cultist, or maybe he would have turned into the Archmage of Skyrim. But as he drew the last breath of the dragon, he felt his destiny pull inside of him, quite literally, as he absorbed the very soul of the dragon he just killed. Our escapee, our prisoner, the individual we had been following this entire time, turned out to be what these soldiers called him to be, a Dragonborn. The dream of every person, to wake up one morning with newfound powers. But would these be the powers that you would want? The ability to consume someone else's soul, to absorb their understanding, their knowledge, their abilities. See, there's an unspoken sadness about this, about what the Dragonborn actually does to these creatures. See, you gotta understand dragons, they are immortal. But I don't mean they don't age or get disease, I mean they literally exist forever. When a dragon dies, its soul simply continues existing in the material world, like a long sleep, simply awaiting to be awoken. The dragons have no concept of death. The idea of not being, of not existing, is completely alien to their brains, and as such, these creatures have been since the beginnings of time. In fact, the god of time in this world is believed to have created them. So what exactly gives the Dragonborn the right to end these endless existences? I mean, could you think of something sadder than destroying something ancient and primeval? The death of a god that has existed for millennia, for example. The destruction of a tree that has stood for thousands of years. The death of an old person, so wise and experienced. All of its life lessons, teachings, memories just gone. Forever. Well, in war, there are always sacrifices to be made. Though it is also believed that the very same god that created the dragons, the god Akatosh, the god of time, is the very same one that blesses those into becoming Dragonborn. Our hero, in this precise moment, discovers that he has been blessed by this god with the soul and mind of a dragon. And that's what this means, really. Our hero has the body and frailty of a human, but the mind and soul of a timeless dragon. Interesting, though, that this god would grant you the ability to annihilate his children, but alas, here we are, the last Dragonborn. If you would like to watch the full 2-hour video, then be sure to head on over to patreon.com/MrRhexx, where the video is available to all patrons. Otherwise, stay tuned as we will continue to upload the rest throughout the next couple of weeks every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Lastly, I would like to thank Dylan Baker, Toby Oliver, and Alex Fitchie for supporting me on Patreon and allowing this to happen. Thank you very much.